Good morning, everyone. It's Thursday, November 26th, coming to you live from Seoul. I'm Kim Mo-kyeon. Before we get started, these are the stories we're following at the top of the hour. South Korea reports a whopping 583 new COVID-19 cases Thursday, the highest figure since early March. This comes amid continuing cluster infections nationwide, including dozens of cases traced to an army division. South Korea's Foreign Minister Kang Kyung-wha and her Chinese counterpart Wang Yi sat down for talks just minutes ago in Seoul to discuss COVID-19, economic cooperation, and matters related to the Korean Peninsula, the region, and the world. And Argentina's football legend Diego Maradona has died after suffering a heart attack on Wednesday. The country declared 3 days of national mourning for the 60-year-old soccer star. Our top story this morning, with sporadic cluster infections continuing nationwide. The number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in South Korea has neared 600 for the first time in 8 months. Our Eun-ji is on the line to give us more details. Eun-ji, what can you tell us?
Well, Mo-kyeon, the country saw well over 500 cases with 583 new COVID-19 infections on Thursday. Of them, 533 were locally transmitted. This is the first time the country has seen over 500 cases since the first wave of the outbreak in March. The strikingly high numbers are largely due to a mass infection that was reported on Wednesday at a military unit in Yeoncheon County in Gyeonggi-do Province. A total of at least 70 soldiers have tested positive, and with around 1,000 military personnel undergoing testing, more are expected. Also, 52 people were infected at an aerobic center in the western part of Seoul. A cluster infection was also seen in the city of Jinju, located in Gyeongsangnam-do Province, with 23 people testing positive, mostly city officials who went on a business trip to Jeju Island and their family members. The nation's health minister, Bang Neung-woo, said on Thursday that the virus has been spreading rapidly within young people in their 20s and 30s, with that age group making up 28% of those who tested positive in the country. Lastly, the public and health officials are especially concerned about the college entrance exam coming up next week due to the importance of this annual event. That's all I have for you now, but I'll be back with more updates in a later newscast. Back to you, Mo-kyeon.
Thank you, Eun-ji. Do keep us updated. Now, 11 months have passed since the first case of COVID-19, and over 60 million people worldwide have been infected with the virus so far. The fast spread of the virus is casting a dark shadow over the year-end holiday season in many countries. Our Kim Hyo-sun reports.
The COVID-19 pandemic has led to over 60 million infections worldwide in just 11 months since the first case was reported in China last December. According to Worldometer, a website that provides real-time statistics for the pandemic, it only took 16 days for the global tally to jump from 50 million to 60 million. The global death toll has surpassed 1.4 million. While 11 countries have surpassed the 1 million mark, the U.S. has the highest number of confirmed cases in the world, standing at over 12 million. As the country heads into Thanksgiving, the U.S. saw the highest COVID-19 death toll in over 6 months. The daily death toll surpassed 2,100 on Tuesday, with another 170,000 people infected in just a span of a day. The mortalities continue to rise as hospitals across the country are already full, casting a shadow over the holiday season. Europe is also facing a grim reality, with the virus spreading at a very fast pace. The Italian Prime Minister called for a comprehensive quarantine measure at the EU level to curb the further spread during the Christmas season. This comes as many Italians are expected to cross national borders to head to ski resorts in other countries, including Austria, where, unlike Italy, there are plans to open them during the holiday season. The Spanish Prime Minister also shared the same view and also added that gatherings for Christmas celebrations across the country could be limited to 6 people in an effort to curb the spread of the virus. Stressing that this number was based on expert opinions, he also explained that the restrictions will be negotiated with regional authorities. Kim Hyo-sun, Arirang News.
Europe and the United States are presenting optimistic timelines for COVID-19 vaccinations amid a rapid surge in cases. This comes as the EU announced that initial vaccinations could take place by the end of December, while the U.S. seeks to vaccinate some 110 million people by February 2021. Our Choi Min-jung has the details.
Europe and the United States, the biggest contributors of global COVID-19 cases, are rapidly moving to secure and distribute vaccines for their citizens. During a parliament session on Wednesday, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen announced some good news, saying that its member countries could soon be receiving COVID-19 vaccinations, possibly by the end of this year.
The first European citizens might already be vaccinated before the end of December. And there's finally light at the end of the tunnel. And yes, as I've said, vaccines are important, but what counts is vaccinations.
The EU top official also added that countries must prepare their logistics for rolling out hundreds of millions of vaccine doses. On top of the good news, the European Medicines Agency on Wednesday expressed hopes for a positive opinion on the pre-Christmas approval of COVID-19 vaccines. Previously, the agency said the EU is trying to stay on a similar timeline to the US FDA, which is expecting a decision on Pfizer's proposed vaccine by mid-December. However, while things look positive, the agency says it won't be recommending a vaccine to the European public before going through thorough analysis. The U.S. also has an optimistic timeline for COVID-19 vaccinations. Operation Warp Speed advisor Moncef Slaoui told CBS that up to 110 million Americans could be vaccinated against COVID-19 by February 2021. Slaoui added that the U.S. will begin the distribution of vaccines as soon as the FDA authorizes Pfizer's vaccine for emergency use on December 10th. Choi Min-jung, Arirang News.
U.S. President-elect Joe Biden called for unity as the country celebrates the Thanksgiving holiday amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Health authorities have been worrying that the big family gatherings and meal-sharing traditions of Thanksgiving could cause yet another exponential surge in cases. Lee Kyung-wha has more.
U.S. President-elect Joe Biden called for a united effort against COVID-19, addressing the country on the eve of Thanksgiving. His remarks are once again focused on combating the pandemic as the country grapples a powerful autumn resurgence. Biden urged people to stay safe by taking precautions, keeping social distance, and wearing face masks. But he also called for what some may consider a greater sacrifice, avoiding big family gatherings, as he himself pledged to do so.
This year, we're asking Americans to forego so many of the traditions that we've long made this holiday, which made it so special. For our families, for 40 such years, we're going to be having a separate Thanksgiving. For Jill and I, we'll be at our home in Delaware with our daughter and our son-in-law.
He also delivered condolences to those who have lost a loved one, saying, "I know that this time of year can be particularly difficult. I remember the first Thanksgiving and the empty chair, the silence. It takes your breath away." Biden had lost his wife and his daughter in a tragic car accident before marrying Jill Biden. Biden also reaffirmed his victory and transition, while President Trump has yet to make an official concession.
In America, we have full and fair and free elections, and then we honor the results. The people of this nation and the laws of the land won't stand for anything else.
The remarks come as Americans prepare for Thanksgiving as the COVID-19 death toll surpassed 250,000 and hospitalizations saw record highs for the second straight week. Millions of Americans, despite an anti-travel advisory from the authorities, have flocked to airports and highways. Lee Kyung-wha, Arirang News.
South Korea's Foreign Minister Kang Kyung-wha is due to meet with her Chinese counterpart Wang Yi. Kang sat down with China's top diplomat a few moments ago to discuss COVID-19, economic cooperation, and matters related to the Korean Peninsula, the region, and the world. In the coming hours, Wang will visit President Moon Jae-in. They are likely to discuss a possible visit to South Korea by Chinese President Xi Jinping. South Korea's central bank has kept its benchmark interest rate unchanged at a record low of 0.5%. The decision made during the central bank's monetary policy meeting on Thursday likely comes as the bank maintained its expansionary policy to offset economic uncertainties amid the COVID-19 pandemic. But despite the pandemic, further cuts might be seen as counterproductive amid rising household debt and property prices. The Bank of Korea cut its key interest rate to 0.75% in March and lowered it once more to a record low 0.5% in May. The central bank has also revised up the GDP growth forecast for this year to minus 1.1%. The South Korean government is switching its discount coupons for dining out so they can be used for food deliveries. Finance Minister Hong Nam-ki said at a ministerial meeting on Thursday that the decision follows the recent heightening of the social distancing measures to level 2. He added that the coupons will be switched back when social distancing measures are eased. The minister also said the coupons can also be used on food delivery apps. To boost retail spending in general, he said that government's shopping event Christmas Market will be held online. Football legend Diego Maradona has died at the age of 60 after suffering a heart attack. With the sudden passing, the Office of Argentina's president says the country will decree 3 days of national mourning for a man who was revered as a hero who almost single-handedly helped Argentina win the World Cup in 1986. Our Lee Seung-jae reports.
At just 60 years of age, global soccer legend Diego Maradona died Wednesday of a heart attack, just 2 weeks after being discharged from hospital following brain surgery. The Office of Argentina's president says it will decree 3 days of national mourning, while current and past football stars sent in floods of tributes to the legend of the sport. Barcelona star Lionel Messi called it a very sad day for all Argentines and for football. Captivating fans during an over 2-decade career, Maradona's most infamous moment came when he punched the ball into England's net during the 1986 World Cup quarterfinals, a moment that has since been famously dubbed the Hand of God. Argentina subsequently went on to win the 1986 World Cup. Famously wearing the number 10 jersey, Maradona was often paired as the best of all time with Brazilian legend Pelé. But his greatest rival wasn't Pelé, but his addiction to drugs. He admitted to a heavy cocaine habit first in 1991 and was hospitalized after coming close to death in 2000 and again in 2004 for heart problems caused by years of cocaine abuse. He once famously said that cocaine was his toughest rival. Scoring over 300 professional goals in almost 600 appearances, he was larger than life, both on and off the pitch, despite his 165-centimeter stature. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
Good morning. Temperatures were more bearable in the early hours, and highs will be similar to slightly higher than yesterday. Then the big winter chill moves in tomorrow afternoon. And for today, poor air quality will be an issue in western parts of the country. So have a face mask ready that can actually block the ultra-fine dust. Meanwhile, the south coast along Jeollanam-do province and Jeju Island is forecast to see rain through the morning, while the eastern region of Gangwon-do province could see a mix of rain and snow from this afternoon into tomorrow. So highs will be similar to a touch higher today under lots of clouds for inland regions, and Gwangju and Daegu will reach 13 degrees, Jeju, Gyeongju topping out at 14 degrees Celsius this afternoon. The last week of November and first week of December is forecast to greet us with temperatures way below freezing with added wind chill, so get ready for the sudden cold snap. That's Korea for you, and here's a look at the weather conditions around the world.
And that's a wrap for us at the hour on Arirang News. We'll be back with more of the day's headlines at noon Korea time, so stay tuned. Thank you for watching and goodbye.
The COVID-19 pandemic has had a great impact on what we eat and how we eat.